Have you ever sat down for a free meal and felt a quiet worry in your chest about what you owe? Have you ever wondered whether receiving without giving back can shape your karma in ways you do not see? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to turn an ordinary bowl of food into a mirror for awakening. We will talk about wisdom. We will talk about cause and effect. We will talk about compassion. We will talk about practice. And we will talk about destiny as something you shape with small choices that feel invisible in the moment. Before we begin, take a slow breath. Notice what your mind is doing right now. If your mind is busy, that is fine. If your mind is quiet, that is fine. Practice begins exactly where you are. Many people have felt the same scene. You walk into a temple dining hall. You smell rice. You see volunteers moving quickly. You notice the calm atmosphere. You also notice a donation box. Maybe it is near the entrance. Maybe it is near the exit. Maybe it is next to the serving table. And then the mind begins. Should I donate? How much? What if I cannot? What if I forget? What if someone judges me? What if I am taking advantage? What if I am being stingy? And sometimes the mind swings the other way. It says, this is free. This is offered. I do not need to think. I will just eat. This is not only about money. This is about the mind that receives. In Buddhism, karma begins in intention. Intention shapes speech and action. And speech and action shape the habits of the heart. The same external act can have very different karmic weight depending on the inner state. One person receives with humility and gratitude and a wish to be better. Another person receives with entitlement and greed and a wish to take more. The food is the same. The mind is not the same. And the mind is where the seed is planted. So today I want to guide you through stories, real lifestyle stories, simple scenes, ordinary people, ordinary emotions. And then we will translate those scenes into practice. Not theory only. Practice you can do with your next meal. Practice you can do with your next moment of receiving. Practice you can do with your next moment of giving. Because giving and receiving are not separate on the path. They are two sides of one training. The training of a heart that wakes up. Let me tell you about Maya. Maya visited a temple on a cold day. She was not a regular. She was tired. She had been carrying stress for weeks. She walked in quietly and saw a long table of food. Volunteers were serving. The atmosphere was gentle. Someone smiled at her and guided her to a seat. She ate slowly and felt her shoulders loosen for the first time in days. Then she stood up and saw the donation box. And in that moment her mind tightened again. She checked her wallet and realized she had very little cash. Her mind started to judge itself. She felt shame. She felt fear. She felt a voice inside say, you do not belong here because you cannot give. This is where practice begins, not in perfect generosity, but in honest awareness. Maya paused. She remembered something simple. Giving is not only money. Giving is intention. Giving is respect. Giving is the wish to support goodness. And receiving can also be a gift when it is received with humility. So she placed her hands together quietly. She bowed. She looked toward the kitchen where people were still working. And inside she made a sincere vow. She said to herself, may I not waste what I receive. May I use this strength to do good. May I return kindness when I can. She did not perform it. She did not look around to see who was watching. She simply planted a seed. Then she asked a volunteer if there was anything she could do for 5 minutes. The volunteers smiled and said yes. Maya wiped tables. She carried a bucket. She thanked the cooks. She left lighter. Was she free of karma debt? That is not the right question. Karma is not a bank account in the sky. Karma is the shaping of your mind and your life through causes. Maya created causes for humility, causes for gratitude, causes for service. Those causes shape her destiny more than the number of coins in her hand. Now let us slow down and see the lesson. Many people think karma is only about what you do. But in Buddhist training, it begins with why you do it. If you give to look good, you water the seed of pride. If you give to avoid guilt, you water the seed of fear. If you give from sincerity, you water the seed of compassion. The external act might look similar. The inner result is different. And over time, your inner result becomes your character. Your character becomes your choices. Your choices become your life. Here is another story. Let me tell you about Ethan. Ethan visited a temple with friends. They were exploring. They took photos outside. They laughed. They walked in and saw the dining hall. The food smelled good. They sat down. Ethan took a large portion because he was hungry and because he thought, "This is free. Why not?" He ate quickly. He talked loudly. He left food on the plate because he did not like one dish. Then he stood up and walked past the donation box as if it was not there. His friend whispered, "Should we donate?" Ethan shrugged and said, "It is free." They offered it. That is their choice. Nothing dramatic happened right away. The sky did not open. No one chased him. But karma is oft unquiet. Karma is the shaping of habit. When you receive with entitlement, you strengthen the inner habit that says the world owes me. You strengthen the habit that says effort of others is invisible. You strengthen the habit that says I can take more than I need. Those habits do not stay only in a temple. They follow you into relationships. They follow you into work. They follow you into how you treat strangers. And little by little, they shape the quality of your life. Because a greedy mind never feels full. It always finds a reason to be dissatisfied. Now be careful. This is not about shaming Ethan. Shame does not help. Shame is another form of self-centeredness. The path is not about blaming. It is about seeing. When you see clearly, you can change. You can practice. You can plant different causes. So what is the wise way to receive a free temple meal? First, receive with gratitude. Gratitude is not a performance. It is a state of mind. Before you eat, pause for a moment. Remember the chain of hands that made the meal possible. Someone donated money. Someone bought ingredients. Someone carried boxes. Someone washed vegetables. Someone cooked for hours. Someone washed dishes. Someone swept floors. Someone organized schedules. Someone kept the lights on. Your meal is not free. It is paid by the generosity and labor of many beings. When you remember this, your heart softens. Second, receive with moderation. Take what you can finish. Do not pile your plate like a trophy. Do not take more than you need because you are afraid it will disappear. Fear creates greed. Trust creates moderation. In Buddhist practice, contentment is a treasure. When you train contentment, your mind becomes lighter. When your mind becomes lighter, you can practice wisdom more easily. Third, receive with respect. Respect means you do not treat the space like a cafeteria that exists to serve your preferences. Respect means you clean up after yourself. Respect means you keep your voice gentle. Respect means you notice other people. Respect means you allow the atmosphere to be calm for those who came seeking refuge. Fourth, give back in whatever way is appropriate for your situation. If you can donate money, donate sincerely. Not like you are buying luck. Not like you are paying a fee. Donate like you are supporting a field of goodness. If you cannot donate money, offer something else. Offer service if it is welcome. Offer a kind word. Offer sincerity. Offer a prayer. Offer the practice of not wasting. Offer the practice of patience. These are not empty. They shape karma too. Now let me tell you about a third person, someone who helps us see the invisible side. Let me tell you about Lena. Lena was a volunteer. She cooked at the temple 3 mornings a week. She woke up early. She chopped vegetables. She stirred huge pots. She lifted heavy trays. She washed dishes until her hands were dry. She did this not because she had unlimited energy, but because she believed in generosity. She believed that feeding people was a form of compassion. She believed that a warm meal could calm a mind enough to take one more step on the path. One day she noticed something. Some visitors treated the meal like a bargain. They complained about taste. They wasted food. They left without a glance. And Lena felt something sharp inside, not hatred, but sadness. She thought, do they see us? Do they see what it takes? Then she caught herself. She remembered that her own karma is also shaped by her mind. If she cooks with resentment, she is not practicing generosity. She is practicing judgment. So she took a breath. She silently wished, may they wake up. May they learn gratitude. May I not harden my heart. Then she returned to washing dishes. This is deep practice, because true compassion is not dependent on being appreciated. True compassion is not a transaction. It is a vow. But wisdom does not mean becoming a doormat either. Wisdom means setting conditions that support goodness. So Lena and the temple later put gentle signs about taking moderate portions. They encouraged people to donate if they could. They invited volunteers. They created a culture of gratitude, not by scolding, but by teaching. Now notice what is happening here. In all these stories, the main lesson is not a rule. The main lesson is a mind. A mind that wakes up to interdependence. A mind that sees the web of causes. A mind that respects effort. A mind that trains humility. A mind that trains generosity. A mind that is not trapped in greed or guilt. That is the middle way. Many people fall into two extremes about giving at temples. The first extreme is anxious transaction. A person thinks, if I do not donate, I will be punished. If I donate, I will buy protection. This turns spirituality into fear. Fear is not wisdom. Fear may push you to act, but it does not free the heart. When you give from fear, you are still bound. The second extreme is careless entitlement. A person thinks, this is free. I own nothing. I can take what I want. This turns generosity into a resource to exploit. It waters greed. Greed is a fire that never ends. The middle way is gratitude with freedom. You give when you can. You receive with respect. You do not torture yourself when you cannot. You also do not pretend generosity is meaningless. You learn. You practice. You plant causes. Now let us go deeper. Why does this matter for awakening? Because greed and gratitude are not just about food. They are about how you relate to life itself. Life gives you many gifts: breath, time, attention, a body, a mind, people who help you, teachers, friends. Even difficulties can become gifts if you use them to grow. The question is, how do you receive life? Do you receive it with entitlement and complain that it is not perfect? Or do you receive it with gratitude and use it to practice? Karma is shaped by how you meet what arises. When you meet a gift with gratitude, you create conditions for joy. When you meet a gift with greed, you create conditions for dissatisfaction. When you meet a gift with shame, you create conditions for tightness. When you meet a gift with humility, you create conditions for openness. This is why a simple temple meal can reveal your spiritual level more honestly than 1,000 inspiring quotes. Because it is real, it is embodied, it happens in front of you. You either waste or you do not. You either think or you do not. You either notice others or you do not. Let us talk about the fear many people have. They say, if I eat and I do not donate, am I creating negative karma? The honest answer is, it depends on the mind. If the temple offers freely and welcomes people regardless of ability to donate, then simply receiving is not automatically negative karma. Temples often offer food as a practice of generosity. They want people to come. They want people to be nourished. They want people to have a moment of peace. If you come with sincerity and respect, if you do not waste, if you do not demand, if you are grateful, then receiving can be wholesome. In fact, receiving with humility can allow the generosity of others to bear fruit. It allows them to practice giving. It completes the circle. But if you come with greed and entitlement, if you take more than you need, if you waste, if you complain and treat the offering as a free service you deserve, then yes, you are planting causes that can ripen as dissatisfaction and conflict, not because the universe is punishing you, but because you are shaping your own mind into a greedy pattern. So rather than asking, will I be punished? Ask this, what mind am I training right now? That is the real karmic question. Now let me give you another story. This one is subtle. Let me tell you about Noah. Noah was going through financial hardship. He lost hours at work. He was behind on bills. He felt ashamed. He avoided friends. One day he walked into a temple because he could not handle his mind anymore. He sat quietly. He listened to chanting. He felt tears rise. Then he smelled food. He realized there was a free meal. His stomach hurt from hunger. He felt embarrassed. He thought, I do not deserve this. He almost left, but an older volunteer saw him and simply said, please eat. You looked tired. Noah sat down. He ate slowly. He tried not to cry. After eating, he wanted to donate, but he truly could not. He felt the old shame rise again. But then he remembered something simple. This meal was not only food, it was compassion. To refuse it out of pride would be to refuse compassion. Sometimes receiving is an act of humility. Sometimes receiving is the practice. So Noah bowed. He thanked the volunteers. He cleaned his area carefully. Then he asked if he could help for 10 minutes. He swept floors. He stacked chairs. He carried trash. It was small, but it was sincere. He left with a quieter mind. Later, Noah found work again. Months later, he returned to the temple with groceries. He donated what he could, not because he feared karma, but because he felt gratitude. He remembered the day he was hungry. He wanted to keep the circle alive. This is how karma becomes destiny, not through fear, through causes you choose. One day of humility can change the direction of a life. One day of gratitude can soften years of bitterness. One day of generosity can open a future. Now, let us talk about waste. Waste is a big karmic mirror in this topic. When you waste food at a temple, it is not just waste of calories. It is waste of compassion. It is waste of labor. It is waste of resources. It also trains the mind to be careless. Carelessness grows into bigger harm over time. Many people do not mean to be careless. They are just distracted. They are used to abundance. They forget that food comes from suffering too, from soil, from weather, from work, from cost, from time. So a simple practice is this: take less at first. You can always take more later if it is allowed. Finish what you take. Eat with mindfulness. Chew slowly. Notice taste. Notice hunger. Notice fullness. When you practice like this, you are not only being polite, you are training awareness. Awareness is the root of awakening. Now let us talk about donation in a healthier way. People often ask, how much should I donate? There is no perfect number. The perfect donation is the one given with a sincere mind within your true capacity. If you give a small amount with joy, it can be very wholesome. If you give a large amount with pride, it can carry mixed seeds. Money is not the point. Mind is the point. Also remember that giving includes many forms. Giving can be money. Giving can be time. Giving can be skill. Giving can be attention. Giving can be respect. Giving can be protection of the atmosphere. Giving can be a gentle word to a tired volunteer. Giving can be bringing a friend who is suffering and guiding them with kindness. Giving can be not wasting. Giving can be not complaining. These are real, but also do not use this as an excuse. Some people say, I will give respect instead of money because I do not want to donate. That is self-deception. If you can donate even a little and you refuse from greed, then you are training greed. Be honest. The path requires honesty. Do not shame yourself. Just be honest. Now I want to connect this to Chinese wisdom in a way that fits an English audience. Many traditional philosophies talk about harmony and moderation. They warn against extremes. They praise gratitude. They praise humility. They speak of how small habits become character. This matches the Buddhist view of karma as habit energy. When you practice small acts of gratitude, you build a stable heart. When you practice small acts of greed, you build a restless heart. This is universal. Now let us bring in a deeper spiritual layer. Many people come to temples seeking blessings. They want protection. They want good fortune. They want relief. This is natural. But the deepest blessing is the change of mind. A meal can become a blessing if it makes you more grateful, if it makes you more generous, if it makes you more mindful, if it makes you more compassionate. That is a blessing that cannot be stolen by changing conditions. So the real question is not, did I donate? The real question is, did I wake up a little today? Now let us walk through a longer story arc. A story that includes multiple people. Because in real life karma is not isolated, it is relational. There was a temple in a city. Every weekend it served meals. People came for different reasons. Some came for faith. Some came for curiosity. Some came because they were lonely. Some came because they were hungry. One weekend a young man arrived. His name was Daniel. Daniel had a good job. He was doing well. He liked the idea of spirituality, but he was also cynical. He thought, people donate because they are afraid, or they donate to look good. He walked into the dining hall with that mindset. He ate. He walked past the donation box. He felt nothing. Then something happened. He noticed an older woman quietly placing a small coin into the box. It was not a dramatic gesture. It was almost invisible. She did not look around. She did not perform it. She bowed and left. Daniel felt curious. Why would someone give a tiny coin? It seemed meaningless. He watched again. Another person donated. Another did not. People were different. He sat outside afterward and saw volunteers carrying heavy pots. He watched a cook wiping sweat. He watched someone washing dishes. And suddenly he felt something shift. Not guilt, not fear, just a clear seeing. He saw that the meal existed because of many causes. He saw that his mindset had been lazy. He saw that he had been treating generosity as a joke because cynicism protected him from vulnerability. If he admitted generosity was real, he would have to admit his own heart wanted to be generous too. And that scared him, because it would change how he lived. Daniel went back inside. He did not have cash. He felt awkward. Then he remembered. Giving is not only money. So he asked if he could volunteer next week. A person smiled and said yes. Next week, Daniel returned. He helped wash dishes. It was not glamorous. His back hurt. His hands got wet. But something happened. He felt useful in a way his office job rarely made him feel. He felt connected. He saw strangers as people. He saw how kindness was built by ordinary labor. Weeks passed. Daniel began donating, not huge amounts, just what he could. He also began to eat differently. He took smaller portions. He finished his food. He thanked people. His mind became softer, and he noticed this softness followed into daily life. He became more patient at work. He became kinder to family. He complained less. He felt more content. His destiny did not change like a magic trick, but his life quality changed because his mind changed. This is karma. Karma is not superstition. Karma is cause and effect in the mind and the world. A greedy mind creates suffering. A grateful mind creates peace. A compassionate mind creates connection. A selfish mind creates isolation. You can test this. You do not need blind belief. You can observe your own heart. Now I want to address another question. Some people say, temples should not pressure donations. Temples should not make people feel guilty. I agree with the spirit of that. Pressure and guilt are not wholesome. But there is also another truth. Many temples survive because of donations. The food is not free in the economic sense. Someone pays. When you donate, you support the continuation of a field of generosity. If no one donates, the offering stops. Then fewer people receive benefit. So the wise view is not to reject donation culture. The wise view is to transform it. Transform it from fear to gratitude. Transform it from transaction to support. Transform it from guilt to joy. So here is a gentle guideline you can use. If you can donate, donate, even a small amount. Do it with a warm heart. Do it as a thank you. Do it as support for future meals for others. If you cannot donate money, do not torture yourself. Offer respect. Offer service if appropriate. Offer a sincere vow to return kindness when conditions allow. And keep that vow. Karma is strengthened by follow through. If you are unsure, choose the mind you want to train. If you want to train generosity, give something. If you want to train humility, receive with gratitude and do not waste. If you want to train wisdom, watch your intention honestly. Now let us bring this into a deeper practice that touches awakening. There is a classic training in Buddhism called mindfulness of giving. It is simple. When you give, notice what happens in the mind. Do you feel joy? Do you feel tightness? Do you feel fear? Do you feel pride? Do you feel resentment? Do you feel peace? All of these are information. This is not about judging yourself. This is about seeing the patterns that drive your life. If you feel resentment when giving, ask why. Maybe you are giving more than you can. Maybe you are giving to please others. Maybe you are giving to avoid shame. Just give within your capacity. Give from sincerity. If you feel pride when giving, notice it. Pride is a natural habit. You do not need to panic. Just notice. Then return to humility. Remember that the opportunity to give is itself a gift. Without others, you would have no chance to practice generosity. If you feel joy when giving, notice that too. Joy is a wholesome side. Let it encourage you, not as attachment, but as confirmation that your heart is opening. The same training applies to receiving. When you receive, notice what happens. Do you feel gratitude? Do you feel entitlement? Do you feel shame? Do you feel fear? Do you feel doubt? This is also information. If you feel entitlement, pause. Remember interdependence. Remember effort of others. Let gratitude arise. If you feel shame, pause. Remember that humility is not humiliation. Humility is openness. Receive with respect. If you can give back later, do so. If you can help now, help. If you cannot, offer sincerity. This is how you turn a meal into a meditation. Not sitting cross-legged, but living. Now I want to bring in compassion in a wider way. Many people at temple meals are struggling. Some are lonely. Some are poor. Some are grieving. Some are simply seeking a calm place. If you are in a position of stability, your donation can support them. Your respectful behavior can protect the atmosphere for them. Your mindfulness can make the space safer for them. This is Bodhisattva practice, helping beings through ordinary actions. Also, compassion includes compassion for yourself. If you are struggling financially and you come for a meal, do not add shame. Shame does not feed you. Shame does not awaken you. Use the meal as support. Use it as a moment to reset your mind. Use it to plant new causes. Then, when you can, give back, not from fear, from gratitude. Now we are coming toward the end. I want to summarize the heart of the lesson in a story-like reflection. A free temple meal is not a test you pass or fail. It is a mirror. It reflects your relationship with giving and receiving. It reveals greed. It reveals gratitude. It reveals shame. It reveals pride. And because it reveals, it gives you a chance to practice. If you learn to receive with humility, you grow. If you learn to give with sincerity, you grow. If you learn to avoid waste, you grow. If you learn to see interdependence, you grow. This is awakening. Awakening is not a sudden lightning strike only. Awakening is the steady opening of the heart and the steady clearing of the mind through daily causes. Now let me share the kind of resonance I hear from many people. Many people tell me they feel confused. They want to be generous, but they also feel tired. They want to do the right thing, but they fear being judged. They want to receive help, but they feel ashamed. If that is you, you are not alone. These are common human knots. The path is to untie them gently with wisdom and compassion, not with harsh judgment, not with fear. Gently. I have heard people say, I avoided temples because I was embarrassed that I could not donate. I have heard people say, I donated but I felt angry because it felt like pressure. I have heard people say, I took food like it was nothing, and later I felt empty inside. All of these are teachers. The point is not to be perfect. The point is to be awake. So here is an invitation you can try this week. The next time you receive something, any gift, a meal, a favor, a kind word, pause for one breath, feel gratitude, and ask, how can I keep the circle alive? Maybe you give money. Maybe you give time. Maybe you give attention. Maybe you simply do not waste the gift, but keep the circle alive. This is how karma becomes a bright path instead of a heavy chain. If this story touched you, share your experience in the comments. Share how you relate to giving and receiving. Share a moment when generosity changed you. Or share a moment when gratitude helped you survive a hard season. Your story may help someone who is silent and struggling. And if you want more long-form talks like this, more stories that turn ordinary life into a path of awakening, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and if you can, Join the channel membership to support these long teachings so they can reach more people who need them. There are moments when you see something and your heart simply whispers, "This one is meant for me." Bracelet carries more than beads. It carries intention, protection, and quiet strength. Something to guide your thoughts and keep your spirit steady. If you felt that gentle pull toward any of the bracelets shown, the purchase link is waiting in the description, and the full collection is displayed on our channel store. Follow your intuition. It rarely leads you wrong.